Warning. This is an alternate version of the Wendy Camp, Cynthia Britto, and Lisa Kregear missing persons case. This video will contain a rant at the end which contains some harsh language. If you don't want to watch this video, I will insert a link in the description to the standard Wendy Camp, Cynthia Britto, and Lisa Kregear missing persons case. The case you're about to view is about the disappearance of Wendy Camp, Cynthia Britto, and Lisa Kregear. This case originally aired on the October 20th, 1993 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. When I first saw this case, I knew something happened. Sadly, I was right, because this case has a conclusion. Therefore, there will not be a final thought at the end. The date is May 29th, 1992. The location is Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Wendy Britto was a divorced mother with a daughter when she fell in love with a coworker named Chad No. Jackie Taylor remembers everything as if it was yesterday. She talked about how they hit it off fairly quickly, that they developed a relationship, and that they got married about 3 weeks before their child was born. Just 1 month after giving birth to their child named Jonathan, Wendy developed a serious case of multiple sclerosis. Wendy was confined to a hospital for nearly a year. During the time she was in the hospital, her husband, Chad, filed for a divorce. Due to Wendy being diagnosed as having multiple sclerosis, the judge gave custody of Jonathan to his father, Chad. Chad No coldly talks about how because Wendy had MS, that he felt she couldn't take care of her child, and instead of having to take care of 2 children, he would divorce Wendy and only worry about taking care of his child. I normally don't do rants anymore because I haven't been pissed enough to recently do one. However, upon watching this case, I was in the process of setting up the script when I heard Chad No say something that sent me off the deep end. The rant will be at the end of the case, where normally the final thought would be. Sadly, Wendy was too sick to be able to contest the divorce or Chad getting custody of Jonathan. For 2 years, Wendy fought to regain the most simple use of her body, such as eating and walking. Finally, Wendy's life started to take a positive turn when friends introduced her to Leon Camp. Both Leon and Wendy hit it off, and she was married again. Wendy's condition started to improve. She was able to function more independently. Wendy asked Chad for weekly visitation to see Jonathan. Chad agreed. Everything was going fine. According to Jackie, Chad's family started to sabotage the visitations. Jackie remembers that Wendy would call Chad to set up time to see her son, and when she would get to his house, they would be gone. Not only that, but Chad would move without giving any forwarding address or even changing the phone number, so Wendy could not contact him at all. Chad remembers differently. According to Chad, there was no problems allowing Wendy to see Jonathan. It wasn't until Chad's grandparents started to report that Jonathan was being sexually abused that's when the visitations were cut off. Leon Camp, who is Wendy's husband, is adamant that there was no child molestation at all, that the idea of the child abuse pissed him off extremely. The charge against Leon of child molestation couldn't be proven or not proved. The court ordered that the visitations between Wendy, Leon, and Jonathan must continue. The judge did hold Chad in contempt. For 6 months following the judge's orders to allow Wendy to see her son, Chad still refused to allow Wendy to see her son. Then one day, 6 months later, Chad had a sudden change of heart. Chad called and told Wendy that he was going to allow Wendy to see her son. He was going to have his mother pick up Wendy since Wendy was unable to drive. Leon didn't want Wendy to go alone because he didn't trust Chad or his family. He remembers having a feeling that Wendy shouldn't go by herself. Leon convinced his sister Lisa to go with Wendy and her daughter Cynthia. Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia got into the car of Beverly Nell, who was Chad's mother. According to Leon, that was the last time he ever saw Wendy, his sister, or Cynthia. The 105-mile trip to Chad's house in Shamrock took a little over 2 hours. When Wendy arrived at Shamrock, she gave Leon a call to let him know that she arrived at a cafe waiting for Chad to arrive. According to Chad, Wendy didn't interact with Jonathan at all. All Wendy did was sit on the porch and drink coffee with him. She was totally distant to her son. When it was time for Wendy to return home, she gave Jonathan a kiss on his forehead. Then Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia all got back into Beverly's car. Chad's grandmother, Ida Pruitt, joined them in the car. Wendy contacted Leon at 4:42 p.m. to let him know that they were heading back. The last words she said to Leon was that Beverly was in a hurry and she had to get off the phone. According to Ida Pruitt, Wendy was not pleasant at all on the ride back to her home. In her own words, Ida Pruitt said the entire time that Wendy was doing nothing but bitching and griping. She told Beverly to just drop me off back at home, that she has to take it, but I don't. Beverly told the police that she pulled into a Walmart parking lot in Chandler and told Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia to get out. Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia never returned home, never contacted anyone for help, never got a ride. It's as if the three of them suddenly fell off the face of the earth. According to Jackie Johnson, a massive search was undertaken in 5 counties to try and locate the missing trio. Sadly, nothing was ever found. Jackie talks about how Wendy was reliant on Leon, that she always contacted him. She talks about how Wendy contacted Leon twice earlier that day, that if Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia were dropped off at Walmart, that she would have contacted Leon. Jackie ultimately feels that her daughter, granddaughter, and sister-in-law were killed by Chad and his family. She feels that Beverly, Ida, and Chad were all involved. She thinks that they had planned on killing the three of them from the beginning, as early as when Chad called earlier that day. Ida says that she and Beverly are innocent, that they did nothing wrong. She doesn't care what the others think because she's saying the truth. Chad said that there is no way that him, his grandmother, or mother killed Wendy, Lisa, or Cynthia, or shipped them off, or are still holding them. 2 people in Shamrock reported saying that they heard Chad say that he killed the 3 of them and that they would never be found. Chad went on to say that maybe he said that in a drunken stupor, but there is no way that he could have done something like that he isn't a violent person. According to the police, no physical evidence has ever been recovered to help suggest what has happened to the missing trio. It's as if they just disappeared. This case has been solved. Ida Pruitt died in September 2011 at the age of 82 from cancer. On April 16, 2013, the remains of Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa were found buried 8 feet deep in an unmarked grave in Pawnee County, Oklahoma. A Ruger revolver, which appeared to be a .357, and a knife were also located amid the remains. DNA collected from Wendy's sister, Kimberly Aisha Hassami, confirmed the identities of Wendy and Cynthia. A coroner declared they were victims of homicide. Wendy Camp died from a gunshot and sharp force injuries. Leon's sister, Lisa, died from gunshot wounds to the torso, while Wendy's daughter, Cynthia, died from homicidal violence of unspecified means. Grover Pruitt, who is Ida's son and Beverly's brother, was arrested on $500,000 bail. That was reduced to $50,000. Investigators believe more arrests are expected in this case. Grover pleaded not guilty, and his lawyer believes that he is innocent. He is awaiting trial. Here is another update. Beverly was arrested on March 28, 2014, and was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder in association with this case. On January 20th, 2015, she pleaded no contest to helping in carrying out the murders. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison and 15 years probation. Grover made statements that his mother, Ida, and sister Beverly had murdered Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia. I'm sorry, but while I was watching this video, I heard Chad No say something that really just pissed me off. Here's a clip of what Chad said.
I didn't think she would be able to help me raise my child. And instead of having 2 children to deal with, I just decided that it was best if we got a divorce.
I know that people could think that Chad could be referring to Wendy's daughter, Cynthia. But the way he said it, it sounds like to me that he was referring to Wendy being another child he didn't feel the need to take care of. Wendy was his damn wife, and that's how he shows his thanks to her, or that's how he thinks of her. I'm sorry, but I don't give a damn what this piece of garbage says. It's clear that he was in on what happened to the missing trio. The only problem I have is, number 1, that his grandmother didn't live long enough to be put on death row, and number 2, that Chad was implicated in the murder of Wendy, Lisa, and Cynthia. When I watched this case back in the 90s, I knew something was wrong, and now that I have all the pieces after learning what happened, it pisses me off even more now. It takes a coward to kill a person who can't defend themselves. I was raised to spot bullshit story when I see one. If it looks like shit, smells like shit, and feels like shit, guess what? It's shit. I sincerely hope that Beverly Grover, or Beverly, her brother Grover, and possibly Chad, if he ever gets indicted, all get the death penalty when it's all said and done. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you watched, please leave a thumbs up. If you have an idea for a future case for me to look into, please drop a comment, and as always, if you aren't subscribed and you like what you see, please subscribe. That way you'll be alerted to when I release new videos. Thank you, and have a good night.